If you want a complete transformation for the inside of your 2021 or newer F-150 with bucket seats, this full dash trim kit in a real carbon fiber finish is something that you should definitely be checking out. Now, this is a great option for the F-150 owner looking to take the aesthetic of the inside of their truck to the next level, especially for the F-150 owners that may have a more toned down interior or base model trim that doesn't seem to have some of those luxury items on the inside. Now, this full dash trim kit, however, offers the feel of that higher trim level truck, and with the genuine carbon fiber material here, it adds a sporty and premium look while being an option that doesn't require modification and has a hassle-free install. Now, changing the trim out in your truck to get a higher trim level appearance can be challenging, it can be very expensive, and almost nearly impossible, but this kit makes getting that look incredibly simple with the abundance of overlays here. Now, each of these pieces fit and form over different areas of the cabin, including the trim around the vents, the steering wheel, door sills, speakers, and center console, just to name a few. But as you can see, you're getting upwards of 40 pieces in this kit. Now, while it is a great style piece, this kit is also great for protection for your interior, considering the factory plastics can tend to show their age over time. They can scratch, but these are going to be durable to combat wear, to keep a premium look, and also protect your interior at the same time. Now, these dash trims, they have a multi-layer construction consisting of a thick 3M auto-grade adhesive on the bottom, then a genuine sheet of carbon fiber, multiple sheets of carbon fiber in the middle here, and then on top this has a polyurethane layer which helps protect the carbon and adds that glossy finished appearance. Now, all three layers come out to about 0.125 inches thick, making them look like they came with the factory trim with a little bit of dimension to them. However, they're thin enough to mold to the factory dash to offer some solid fitment. Now, speaking of the fit, they are precisely cut and shaped to the factory dash pieces, specific to the 2021 with bucket seats, so they're going to offer a very seamless appearance to the inside of the truck. Now, everything on the table here is about $875, which is a premium price point when it comes to trim pieces or overlays in the category. Now, what makes this stand out from a lot of the other choices in the category is in the materials. It's made of a real carbon fiber compared to other options that only have the appearance or inspiration of the carbon fiber weave, so you know you can take pride that this has a genuine construction, especially if that's something that you're concerned about when it comes to carbon part. It's also a complete kit. You can see that this comes with every trim piece here you could possibly imagine, which creates a very cohesive appearance compared to other choices that may come with one or a few pieces that you may have to match together. It makes it a great choice if you want to invest in a complete and a high quality kit. Now, install here, very easy, 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. However, it might take you a little bit, so I would say about 45 minutes in order to install everything here. One of my biggest recommendations about parts like this that require adhesive is just to make sure that all of the pieces or the components that you are adhering these to are very clean and free of dust and dirt. It's going to help them last 10 times longer. Now, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here. They're going to walk you through how to clean it and where all of these pieces go inside the F-150. So that wraps it up for me. Let's go ahead and get into the install.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be installing a trim kit in our F-150, so let's get started. Alrighty, guys, so this is a layout of our entire kit. Now, it is on 3 separate sheets, and this is kind of a big puzzle that you're just going to have to take your time and put together and match up where all of your pieces go. So don't get in a rush with this. Don't just take a piece off and then find out where it's gonna go. Figure out what you got going on, and then we're gonna stick them on piece by piece. You can match them up by shape. It is pretty simple once you look at it, but don't let it get overwhelming. We're just gonna go sheet by sheet and work through this and get it all installed. All right, so we've got our first piece picked out, and that is going to be our light switch bezel area. Now, this kit also comes with covers on the actual adhesive, even though they are stuck to the sheet. It also comes with some alcohol prep pads. You want to do a good wipe down if you haven't cleaned your interior in a while. Just make sure everything's nice and clean. And if you did clean your interior or you're planning on it, make sure you use a solvent-free cleaner so it doesn't leave any residue behind. just gonna line this up. Now these are pretty well cut to form. You just want to make sure you stick them on nice and straight. This thin area around the dial itself is a little bit tricky because it's super thin. So our next piece we've picked out is our radio dial trim area. Again, we're going in really no rhyme or reason other than matching up pieces to where they look like they should go. And if you're questioning whether a piece goes at a certain spot, just lay it on, make sure it lines up before you take your adhesive backing off. And if it lines up, throw it on. If not, move on to another piece or find out where that one goes. This whole process is really going to be a process of elimination. And the main thing is to just be careful with these thin areas. You don't want to unintentionally damage these, get them folded up or anything. So for these longer pieces, we'll get one side on, and then we'll work it as we go. So this trim goes all the way up to this edge. So line it up very carefully. Got this part on. We'll work on this top edge next. Luckily, these pieces are pretty pliable. Get this bottom edge on. Now, these thin parts might try and fold under themselves on you, so you want to be careful of that. And you want to make sure your dials still rotate once you stick them on. You don't want to jam up any operations. Now we found our steering wheel trim, so we're going to start with this. And you just want to make sure everything's clean and take your time with this. No need to rush. This piece kind of tucks up under your horn / airbag area. You just want to lay that in nicely. A little press so it sticks. Next, we're going to do our trim around our buttons on our steering wheel. So for this one, we're going to start at this edge, make sure it sits where we want. And as we work around, we'll peel back this adhesive cover. You also got to take into account all the contours of the interior that you're working on, because these are flat pieces going on to contoured pieces. So now we're going to start working on our door, the driver's door. Now each door on the front is going to have a specific shape. Your passenger one's going to have more of a taper. So that's how you distinguish those. And again, just match them up before you remove your adhesive cover. Everything will be just fine. Now we've got our speaker trim cover, and we're gonna peel this whole cover off because a lot of these ends are pretty thin, so it's gonna be more tough to peel it off a little bit at a time. I'll just start with this top. Get that part nice and lined up. Just work our way around, nice and light. And let it fall into place. And give it a good press. So now we'll get our last trim piece onto our driver's door. And once you've got this trim piece on, that completes your driver's door trim, so you can repeat the same process for your other doors. We'll move around to the interior. So now we're going to get our center console edge trim in. So we've got some of our adhesive backing peeled. Line this up right at the top edge of our factory trim. Once you have this piece in, there is a mirroring piece on the passenger side that you want to install as well. Next, we're going to install our center lower trim section. And this is going to butt up to the end of where your stop-start button goes. And again, be mindful of the contours. Now, this is going to be a two-piece section, as you can see. This part in, we'll grab that next section and go over there. So now we'll match up our next section. So you want to butt this right up to where your other one stops. Make sure it's nice and square. Keep this in line. Again, these contours do offer a little bit of a challenge when keeping this straight. That's why you don't want to press on it too hard until you get everything lined up. Now we'll get our upper part of our passenger vent trim on. Now we can get our driver's side upper and lower vent trim on. Just like the passenger side, just line this right up. Right on. Our lower piece as well. Once you start getting through a bunch of these pieces, everything will kind of start falling into place. Now we're going to start working on our center media screen area. So the bottom part is going to be this thin one with the little wings. This honestly is a little bit tricky of a piece. Get it tucked in. So now we've got our upper trim section of our entertainment display. Now, to be quite honest, this one is going to be tricky. Your best bet is to lay these middle pillars in. outer thinner strips on. And lastly, you want to carefully tuck this super thin strip on. And just use your finger to glide it up into place. Push a little bit. Now we'll get our button surround for our trailer. We'll grab our surround for this area. I've got this surround. Next we'll get our trailer brake and four-wheel drive surround installed. Now we'll get our power outlet surround on. And you'll notice a difference for this one and the four-wheel drive one. This one does not have the little crossover. The one for the four-wheel drive and drive modes does. Okay, now we'll get some of our center console pieces in. We've got our little divider piece. Once we have that in, we have our outer rim piece. Now the sides on this are extremely thin, so you want to be careful. Lay this back section in first. Get the top or front part lined up. You can run your strips in. So now we're going to get our edge cluster trim pieces on. The thinner one goes towards the driver's door. Now this is one of the more heavily contoured pieces. It's going to be a little bit of a challenge. Get that tucked all the way in there. Once you get that one on, there is another one that goes towards the radio side that's the same thing. Now one thing to point out is your kit comes complete for any and all of F-150s of 21 and up, so you may or may not use every single piece depending on the trim level of your truck. Just to point that out. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our full dash trim kit with real carbon fiber finish for your 21 to current F-150 with bucket seats. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything F-150, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.